Hello, everybody, and welcome to Homes New York with Andrew and Stephen. I'm Stephen Love,
And I'm Andrew Weiner.
and here we are in Lincoln Center, one of the great cultural spots of New York City, and a very vibrant residential neighborhood as well called Lincoln Square, right, Andy?
Yeah, I mean it was built up over the last 20 years and is a major epicenter of the culture in New York City.
That's right. And today we want to discuss with you if you are looking to purchase a home here in New York City, we want you to consider the concept of buyer agency.
Buyer agency refers to the role that we would play if we were going to represent you in a sales transaction. We would have a fiduciary responsibility to you and only you, and will represent your interests. Whereas the seller's broker has a fiduciary responsibility to only the seller and would represent their interests in the transaction. If you go to an open house, you might, by yourself, you might meet the listing agent. They might be really friendly. They might give you good information, but they represent the seller's interests. And there's actually a limit to what the information that they can even give you in the transaction. So it's very important that you have a good buyer's broker that really knows what they're doing.
That's right. And we bring decades of experience to the table. There's no substitute for experience. I've got over 2 decades as a broker, sold apartments, townhouses, commercial, representing buyers, sellers, you name it. I've done it. I've also been president of my co-op board for 6 years with a 7 building, 350 unit complex. I got to tell you, a lot goes on there. I've dealt with management companies, accountants, attorneys, you name it, all the cast of characters involved in a real estate transaction.
I have over 15 years of experience in real estate. I've worked with sellers and buyers from all different walks of life, dealt with transactions from the smaller ones to really large ones. And before I got into real estate, I was on Wall Street in finance for over a decade. So I've used that analytical ability and the experience I gained there to bring added value for my real estate clients.
Okay, so we suggest that you contact us to get an initial consultation. So what we're going to ask you about, we're going to get into your pipes like a plumber. We're going to ask you about your finances. Are you going to pay all cash? Will you be financing? We got to make sure that the various buildings, the co-ops, how much financing do they allow? An average co-op is going to allow 20% down payment, 80% financing. We need to see what your credit situation is. You're going to need to have good to excellent credit. And we also need to see with co-ops, we're going to need to see what your post-closing liquidity will be. In other words, how much liquid assets, that would be cash or stocks that you could sell right away, you're going to have left over after you pay for the apartment and your closing costs. So we got to convey that information to you as well, closing costs, attorneys, bank fees, etc. If you're buying a condo, you're going to have a big closing cost called the mortgage recording tax. So in our initial consultation, we're going to get all the facts together, and that's how we're going to start you on your path to finding your new home.
You then get to the fun part, the property or the apartment that you're looking for and the desired characteristics. What is the size that you're looking for? 1, 2, or 3 bedroom if you're talking about an apartment. If you're talking about, a townhouse, it's obviously, the square footage, the other characteristics. Then it's the type of property you want. Do you want a co-op? Do you want a condo, or do you want a townhouse? After that, you get to the maximum monthly expenses that you want to pay out, which for co-ops, it's the maintenance, and that includes the carrying costs and the real estate taxes. With a condo, it's separated out into carrying costs and real estate taxes. With a townhouse, it's similar to a condo, but structured a little differently. Once you get past that, you start looking at the additional characteristics you want, such as, do you want outdoor space, which is pretty rare and valuable in New York City. Uh, a private terrace, a balcony, or maybe a backyard. Then you look at what building type do you want. Would you do a walk up depending on your budget, or do you need to have an elevator? Do you need to have laundry? Do you want to have a doorman, an attended lobby? What type of amenities do you want in the building, such as a gym, roof deck, even a garage? And then finally, and something sometimes people overlook, do you have pets? Because in New York, most buildings allow cats. Not all of them, but most do. Uh, as far as dogs, it's more restrictive in New York City. People love their dogs, but some buildings don't allow them, and others have restrictions in terms of the breed and the maximum weight. So all of these characteristics are important and go into how we conduct a preliminary search for you to direct you to appropriate properties. So we will do a collaborative search together with you. Our database is the most extensive available. We have access to every listing in the city. We'll be your primary point of contact with the seller's broker. We'll save you a lot of time by efficiently setting up appointments and tours. We will do a customized search based on your preferences, and then based on your feedback, we'll tailor your search going forward to most efficiently get you to the right apartment. In addition, Steve and myself constantly share information with each other. And finally, we have access to off-market listings that aren't yet online. Brokers in the brokerage community often share information about listings that are coming up that aren't officially on the market yet. So that can give you a head start on attractive properties. So we finally found the right apartment, and it's time to make the offer. We use data-driven analysis in order to develop the best negotiating strategy. We will provide you with a survey of recent comparable sales in both the building and the surrounding neighborhood, as well as an overall market trend analysis in order to help you get the best price possible. Now we have to send the offer to the seller's agent. That includes the price, whether or not it's cash or all cash or will be financed. If it's all cash, you have to provide proof of funds. If it's going to be financed, you have to provide a mortgage pre-approval letter. And in all offers, we also have to submit your personal financial statements to the seller's broker.
Okay, now congratulations, we've got an accepted offer. Now what do we do? Well, we're not out of the woods yet because it's really not a deal until there's a fully executed contract signed by both you, the buyer, and the seller. So now we're going into the contract phase, and this is all about what I call transaction management. We, as your buyer agent, act as a quarterback for all of the other people involved in the deal. The lawyers, the appraisers, inspectors, if you're going to have the apartment inspected. What's going to happen is your attorney, the buyer's attorney, is going to do due diligence on the building, examining the financials of the building and the offering plan to see if there are any strange things going on. Is there any litigation against the building? But we got to keep things moving quickly. So we act again as the driving force. This could typically take up to 2 weeks, and we make sure it's all about clarity of communication. We want to make sure that the lawyers aren't dropping the ball. We got to make sure that the managing agents are responsive. And what we do once we have a signed contract is we help you put together a bulletproof purchase application for the co-op or the condo that is not going to get kicked back. We go through it with a fine-tooth comb. It's got to be presented in a certain way. And this is how we add value for you every step of the way, from the beginning when we first meet you to the closing. We're going to make sure that your process is well managed and that you get into your brand new home that you love all in one piece. So that's it. That's our offer to you. Our offer to you is our expert experience service, where we're going to help you save time. We're going to give you the peace of mind that you're in good hands with two expert agents helping you every step of the way.
And we'll continue to help you even after the closing. We can help you arrange for movers. We can provide you referrals to contractors or architects if you're planning on renovating the apartment. And if you're an investor, we can help you find a tenant to rent out the unit. The point being, we develop long-term relationships with our real estate clients, and we'll always be there for you.
Contact us now at homesny.as@gmail.com.